Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today's episode is all about authentic branding. So why I feel like this is powerful is in the beauty industry, we need to show up and stand out without being loud or salesy. Today, I have an expert. I feel like she's an expert. Her name is Jenna Redfield. She is a multi-passionate entrepreneur who basically helps creatives and business owners show up online with their businesses. And her business is called Red Thread Studio. Thank you for being on, Jenna.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Heck yes. Now, I love this topic because I do feel like not only is it great for social media and how social media is really going and the algorithm is finding people, but I do feel like this is, and we talked about this before we even recorded, this is great for longevity. But one of the things I always start my podcast with is if somebody is listening and they don't know you, can you just go into a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I have been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. I went to film school, so I have a background in video production, and that's what I've been kind of doing on and off that whole time. But I also kind of do a lot around marketing, social media, visibility, helping people just be found so they can get more leads and clients is really what I help with. And so I have really transitioned in the last couple of years to really just helping with video marketing. That is right now the biggest way that you can promote yourself, especially on social media. So I do a lot of video interview type stuff. I have worked with some beauty professionals and done some stuff with that. So I do know that industry a little bit, and it's been really fun. I've also had my own health journey the last couple of years. So I've been kind of learning a lot about specifically like skincare, which I know you do a lot of stuff with that. So it's been kind of like a good mix of that in my life.
I love that. And honestly, that's why a lot of us join the beauty industries, because we have our own stories, right? And so I think even for me, I battled acne in my early 20s and I battled it for a long time. In beauty school, I was the acne model. So I will say yeah. And I find that people resonate with that. So when I was attracting clients early on, sharing that with them was huge for me, because it not only just was like, hey, I know how to go through this, or I have been through this, or I know what you're feeling, but you just have so much different ways that you're showing up in your business. Now, if somebody's listening and they're like, I don't know what authentic branding really means, can we maybe dive into both of ours, what we think authentic branding is? Because I think there is a lot of different ideas and takes out there.
I think, the biggest thing that I've learned is over the years is you're trying to attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. So I think a lot of people want to appeal to everyone. And so they just try to just be super generic and super people pleasery. I don't know if that's a word, people pleasing. And I think what happens is the more you're yourself, the more that you just are a little bit more open. You don't have to trauma dump your life on social media, but you do need to share some of maybe your hobbies or your interests or things that make you different. And that is what's most authentic. It stands out. People want to feel like it's real. They're connecting with you. Social media can be very fake at times. And so people can tell if you're just putting on an act. And so I think the more you are able to just be yourself and be, I guess, maybe a little bit vulnerable, but also still be visible in that sense where you're putting your face on camera. That's a huge thing for people that they get really, really scared, and it takes practice. And I always tell people, because I work with a lot of people who've never been on video before, it's just practice. And again, you don't have to share all the intimate details of your life, but you do need to be honest. I think that's maybe the biggest thing of authenticity is just honesty. It's, you're not sharing all of the pretty parts. You're sharing the dark side sometimes too. I've been sharing my acne journey on social, and a lot of times I put on filters because I'm embarrassed by my skin. And then there's days where I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to post it unfiltered because this is really what's happening. So I think people resonate with that. They're like, oh, it's not out, it's the most polished, especially in the beauty industry. Everything is so polished, and it's all about aesthetics and looks, but I feel like that's not always truth, especially if you're walking outside, like you have no filter on, you know, you can wear makeup, but you're not going to be fully filtered, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like people connect with like even the other parts of your life that don't have anything to do with your business,
Yes.
right? So like if you're a coffee lover or like if you like to go outside a lot, so even think outside the box a little bit, right? Like but those parts of you that why you joined the beauty industry or why you started that spa or why you joined that salon or spa, you know, those are the things that clients are going to that's where they're going to follow you to begin with. And then they're going to saturate themselves if they're interested and they feel that connection right away. They're going to saturate themselves with the rest of what you're doing. So I love this. And it's so much more than just like, so what I feel like businesses get stuck on, and maybe you can highlight on this too, is like they get stuck so much on their logo and their website and like the color palettes and like all those things. So maybe can you like go into a little bit how like that really doesn't matter as much?
I think especially it's changed too because of Instagram, like the TikTokification of Instagram is what I call it, which is where people are showing up more on video and they're just like being real and raw and authentic. And I think people resonate with that more than just the polished look. I will say if you have tons of different colors and tons of different fonts, it doesn't always look very cohesive. So I will say that like just pick your favorite colors, make it work. I mean, there's lots of cool AI tools now to just do that in like I hate to say it, I did my logo in like an hour. Like, you know, it's just like, okay, perfect. Like it's done. I don't want to worry about it anymore. It's not, I think people spend way too much time. They spend way too much money on that. And I'm like, look, you need to be more consistent than anything else. Like I'd rather spend the time and money on content that's going to have you show up more consistently than making sure it's perfect or making sure that like everything is super aesthetic. But I will say people do compare. So it's like there are times where maybe they're choosing between two and maybe like this one looks a little bit more of my style, then they're probably going to go with that. But I feel like to me, I tend to go with the people over the like look. Like I've been to places where they might not have the best like aesthetics, but it's like I really like the people that work there. Or you know, it's like you can't always like be like that's the reason people are choosing my business.
Yeah. And maybe let's share some tips for the listeners that if they're feeling like they're uncomfortable showing up on camera, because earlier we had talked about like, and I love showing up on camera. I've gotten used to it. I think it attracts, you know, gets the DMs going. It's giving me the shares. It's giving me the likes. It's giving me the comments. So I noticed that it's working. But maybe if somebody's listening, if you're listening and you're like, I am shy, I'm trying to work on this. What are some like, you know, inspirational things that you can say? And obviously your tips, because this is what you do. This is how you know.
So I think the biggest one is like, I always tell people to start with stories because they expire. So it's only 24 hours. I post way more on stories than probably any other platform of all my social platforms, just because I'm like, it's just kind of my train of thought. It's just kind of, I know it's going to disappear anyways. And like, I have a very consistent viewer. So it's like, they know me really well. And I think for some people, like they've never even posted a story before, you know what I'm saying? It's just like some people are very, very new to just, I think Instagram is a great one, especially for the beauty industry. I would say you have to be on Instagram. That's just where people are. I mean, there's other platforms too, but like if I had to pick one platform for the beauty industry, I would say Instagram because that's just where it all is. And it's very nice because it's locally based. A lot of times you can tag locations and people are, the discoverability is great on Instagram. But I would say like, even if you just post photos of yourself, a lot of people don't even do that. Like maybe do like get some headshots or some styled photos where you're showing what you're doing and just and then maybe writing out a really good, really long caption about what you're talking about. Like even just that to get started. So take it in baby steps. But you also have to kind of be outside of your comfort zone. I think some people don't challenge themselves. They're like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. I'm like, well, if you're going to be a business owner, you are the face of your business and you kind of have to like put your big girl pants on and just be like, this is part of the job. And I think that a lot of business owners are not prepared for that. And I kind of have to like give them that talk and be like, look, if you want to be a business owner in 2025, where the currency is attention, you have to be on camera these days. You just do. And video is like, sure, you can do a video, a voiceover. I mean, there are other options. If you really, really don't want to be on camera, you could do a voiceover. You could do a day in the life where it's your POV. Like there's other options, but whether it's your voice, a picture of your face, like people need to see that, because otherwise
Yeah.
it looks like every other account.
Yeah. And if I go on Instagram, I'm looking at it from a coaching lens sometimes. So I have to remind myself like, hey,
Yeah.
okay, if a client was coming to this
Mhm.
page and I don't see, so I get really sad when I don't see the person's name anywhere. And then
Mhm.
when I don't see their face anywhere, I'm like,
Yeah.
we are a people to people
Mhm.
business. Like we are
Totally.
touching people for a
Yes.
living. I have to remind people like we are touching people for a living. So not only are you wanting to build that trust as fast as possible, but showing up, there's just like that connection has to be
Mhm.
there. You know what I mean? So that, and the other thing is this is how you're going to attract new clients from social media. But
Mhm.
what you were touching on earlier is like you have to become comfortable with showing up, because let's say you're going to a networking event, which you go to a lot of networking events,
Yeah, I
and I
do.
highly suggest people doing it, because not only does it get you in front of people that you've never met, but it gets you used to talking
Mhm.
about your business. It gets you used to talking about your services or even yourself. And so if you can't do that in front of others, you're never going to be able to do it in person when you do have a new client that came to you and you're trying to upsell or you're trying to sell retail. You have to think about it in those ways too, of like this authentic branding carries so much more into the just grabbing new clients. It really is something that, is if you work on it over time, you're going to be just presenting yourself in such a different way as a business owner,
Mhm.
but you're also going to be nurturing those relationships that, you're curating, and you're hoping those clients are going to come back. So it all just wraps up into
Yeah.
being a better business owner, having that success that you're really craving. And this is how we do it, right? Like authentically showing up is really how people are doing it. Now, you've probably seen examples of where this shift has happened in businesses, like where people are kind of hiding and they're not really showing their true selves. And then all of a sudden they show up, and you could probably encourage them, I'm guessing, because this is what you do. You have VIP days.
Yep.
And I love this because, having somebody like that, like hiring somebody or even having somebody on your side, let's say you
Yep.
just have like a family member, that could be where you start too, is like just
Mhm.
start taking videos, start showing up on camera, or even like you said earlier, let's just take like a video of you working and then you could do a voiceover. That's
Mhm.
even something you can start with, but it has to you have to start showing up.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people go into the beauty industry, like if they start at like a salon or something, they are not in
Mhm.
charge of getting clients. They just are
Right.
doing the hair, they're doing whatever. But when you become a business owner, that is only a part of your job, is the actual services. Half of it's
Right.
marketing, it's going to be getting clients, it's going to be the business side. So some people are scared to do that, but they know that it's long term going to be the most beneficial. So part of it is continuing education of how do that's why I'm glad that you have this podcast and lots of
Mhm.
tools to help people, because it is a brand new world for them. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of business owners, if you've never run a business, marketing is a huge challenge for a
Hurdle.
lot of people. It is a hurdle. And that's why I like teaching marketing, because it's
Me
very much
too.
something that I love it. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to infuse that passion of it towards people, because it is fun. Like if you
Yeah.
think about it, it's you getting to have full control of your messaging, of your branding. Like you don't have to go with what the salon says. You can pick it for yourself. And I think that is both exciting, but also overwhelming, because there's so
Yeah.
many choices. So I think really just focusing on the quality of your work and just showing that off on your social, but also your personality, because like we've said, you're spending hours with people. You
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
going to hopefully have these clients for life. And I know one of my hairstylists, she still markets herself, but she has a full book.
Yeah.
So she's still like,
Of course.
she's like, I don't need tons of clients, but I also like to still continue to show up, because at some point, maybe some of them will go or whatever, but it's
Yep.
like, you have to be consistently showing up in your business to show that you're still active and that, this
Yep.
is what I'm an expert in. So I
Yep.
did some videos with her to just kind of talk through her life and her experiences, and she was telling stories, and it was just really cool, because a lot of people don't show that on social media, and I'm like,
They don't.
that is what you get in person, so why not preview
Yes.
that on Instagram to see what it's like? Because I worked with a girl, she didn't talk to me the entire hair time. Like it
Oh
was
my
just silent. You know what I'm saying?
gosh.
So it's like, it's just like I tried to ask
Ah.
questions, because I was like, okay, we're spending like 2 hours together, and like she's giving him nothing. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go back to her. Like, and
Mm-mm.
it's just like, but the woman that I work with now, she's like great, and like we're friends, like actually friends, like
Yes.
so it's
It's that connection.
yeah, and it's like I'll drive 45 minutes to go to her, you know. And
Yeah.
I was saying before, like my mom has had the same hairstylist for 20 years, and she'll go to wherever.
Yes.
It's like he comes to her house sometimes. That, you know, so
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
like loyalty is really important in this industry,
It
especially
is.
you establish yourself in a specific area of town, or
Yeah.
you know, and that way you don't have to do as much marketing if you really
Yes.
have consistent clients, and also good word of mouth. But I do think that social media is a word of mouth in a sense, where people can share your posts, or they can
Yes.
send the content that you're making to be like, oh, this is who I use for my, you know, skin or whatever, and just tell a friend, because that's going to be more important than just randoms from the internet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, it really starts with your passion. So,
Mhm.
like, you know, everything that we're talking about when it comes to authentic branding is really starting with like, what makes you excited? So, like, if
Mhm.
you are an esthetician, specifically estheticians, we have a lot of things that we can offer, right?
Mhm.
So, we can go into so many different areas, but like,
Yes.
what are you focusing on? So,
Mhm.
what are you so excited to talk about? What are you so excited when you wake up in the morning? What got you excited in beauty school? Why did you start your
Mhm.
business? Like, what service are you really focusing in on? And really think about how you talk about it to your friends and family, and just transfer that into your marketing, transfer that
Mhm.
into, you know, when you show up online, because that's really where it starts. And people love to see that passion, right? So that's on authenticity right in itself, is like people
Yeah.
see that you're like, oh my God, I love this service, and like da da da, and you have so many things, and it hypes you up even to the point where you like trip over your words, and
Yeah.
like people want to see that. So it does
Yes.
really start there. So if you're thinking like, how do I even begin with this process? Start with what makes you the most passionate. What is something that lights you up? Why did you start your business? Why did you go to beauty school? Think about those things, and even just start taking video of yourself doing that. I
Mhm.
think this is huge. So, but all the tips that Jenna's giving you, all the tips that I'm giving you are just ways that you're going to attract clients, and also ways that you're going to nurture the current clients you have and continue to make money, continue to build that freedom, that legacy, that dream that you have when you first started your business. Like, this is all just how to do it, and do it in a way that's actually not going to feel bad. So, you know, I will say, like you were saying earlier, a lot of people, marketing is kind of a big hurdle that they have to jump over, because it's not necessarily something that you think about when you're going into business. You think about that passion first, right? And so I will say, like, authentically showing up, and the reason I love this topic so much is because it actually is going to feel easy. It's actually going to
Yes.
feel natural. It's actually
Mhm.
going to feel, yes, some of the things of like showing up on video and doing those things might not, but what you're talking about and what you're sharing should feel like, this is something I want to share, or this is something that's part of
Yes.
my life. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite quotes, and I just looked it up because I'm like, what you're saying, it's
Yeah.
marketing is nothing more than enthusiasm transferred to the customer. So like marketing truly is
Yeah.
just excitement about what you're doing. If you're not excited about what you do, that's going to show on
Yeah.
social.
Yes.
And so I think what you were saying too is like, what's that one thing? I always love the book, The One Thing. And it's
Yeah.
really
Yep.
about what's that one thing. So my business is called Red Thread Studios. And it's like, what's that red thread? What's the thing that's like the main thing that people remember you for, that people are like, when they talk about you, what's the thing that they say?
Yeah.
So figuring out what that is and really making that the core of your marketing. So, you know, for me, right, like for the last 10 years, it's been video. Like
Yeah.
people, like I want people to think me, they think of video, you know? And so
Yeah.
that has been for me something that I have to talk about every week or, you know, every month. Cause it's like that to me is like, I want people to put me in that, I guess, umbrella or in that
Yeah.
thing. So for you as like an esthetician, like what is the one thing within estheticianship? I don't know what it is, you
Yeah.
know, in the word
Yeah.
that you like, was whether it's acne or whether it's, you know,
Yeah.
something specific, whether it's Botox or whatever it is,
Yep.
like that needs to be in a lot of your
Yeah.
words, a lot of your, you know, in your description of your business. Like you really want people to have a specific, I hate to say niche because it's true, but like you do,
Right.
when you start a business, you do have to have like a niche,
Yeah.
even within a larger niche, which is being an
Yes.
esthetician. So it's like, okay, yes, you're an esthetician, but that can mean 80 things.
Right.
So, you know, so it's like, what is that thing that sets you apart that people will remember about you? So like, for
Yep.
example, I almost went with this one hairstylist because she specifically did blondes.
Yeah.
And I'm a blonde. So I was like, oh, she knows more about blondes.
Yep.
So I was like, perfect. But then it ended up being a different person. But like, I was very much considering this. And it was the entire like studio was just blondes. So I was like, that's really cool because it's a specialist in what I am. So I was seeing myself reflected in their marketing.
Yes.
So for you, if it's acne or whatever, it's like, if I would rather go to an acne specialist esthetician than anything else, because that's what I'm struggling with. So I think you really have to have your ideal person reflected in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's actually something that I feel like for me, it's constantly a work in progress of like, who is that person? And I'm just, the more I'm myself, the more I'm attracting people that like who I am.
Yeah. And don't be scared to show up, people. Like, this is what, and I always hear people say, well, you know, I'm going to lose followers or I'm going to lose this. That's great. I want you to lose followers because that means that those people are not for you. You know what I mean? We want to attract the people who are really for you, because what happens is if you have your marketing and all of your, you know, videos and everything that you're doing is very basic or very like somebody else's or what's only trending, and it's not really authentically you, first of all, that's not going to build a sustainable business. But then also those people aren't going to come back to you, right? They're not going to. So you're going to feel like you're wasting your time, but you are truly going to waste your time. So I love what you said, because, you know, it really resonates of like, we need to narrow in. Now, I know that there's a lot of marketers out there that are like, don't narrow your niche because you're going to talk about, but I truly feel like in the beauty industry, you have to narrow in, because like what you said earlier, and I love this, is people want to go to experts. People want to go who are passionate about what and they want to feel seen. So you want your client, when they're going past your reel that you're going to post today, people, I want you to just post it and don't think about it. And we'll talk about this in a second, but like, I want them to feel so connected to that post and so seen by that post and so invited by that post that they're like, I have to click on this. I have to follow this person. I want to, because that's where the conversion happens. That's where that DM is going to happen. That's where that share is going to happen, is like that connection that you instantly made. And you know what that connection is? That connection is because you shared something about your business, yourself, or what you offer, that they're like, I can't, it's irresistible. Right. And the one thing I want to touch on is people just scared of posting. And this is really tailoring into authentic branding, because, and I've done this recently myself. So I want to share this. Like, so there's so many times where you put something together, specifically on Instagram. I love Instagram as well. So I love how you said that earlier, because I feel like for the beauty industry, Instagram is where it's at. But there's so many times where I put something together and I won't post it because I overthink it. And I will say, just post it.
Yeah.
Just post it, people. Like, I think, you know, repetition is the game when it comes to marketing, right? And you're only going to get better through that repetition.
Yeah, there's so much. I have so many strong opinions about this, because it's like, I think
Me too.
What happens is not every post is going to be a home run. Right. I use an analogy of a baseball game. So it's basically like, sometimes you'll hit a home run, sometimes you'll get a single, sometimes you'll strike out. Like, you never know. You have to kind of throw the spaghetti at the wall. And one of my favorite books that I've read in the last year is called Tiny Experiments. And it's a really great book. Highly recommend it. But what she talks about in the book is the goal should not be what happens after you post. It's the posting. So like, just the idea, your goal should just be to post.
Yeah.
And you don't have any control of the result. So it's like, do the best you can and post. But it's like, your goal should be to post and not to get a certain number of views. And I think people think about it too much of the results, when it should be about the action of posting, because you never know. I posted a video like a week ago on my Substack, and it didn't get as many views as I wanted, which was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I knew it probably wasn't, but one of my potential clients saw it and he watched the whole thing and was like, oh my gosh, I learned so much from that. I want to hire you. You know, so for me, it wasn't about getting, 1,000 views, even if it got 100 views. The one person I needed to see it saw it. And so for me, I was like, perfect. It was worth the time to make. So I think that's the thing that people think about, is it has to be, we live in a very number-centric world when it comes to social media. It has to go viral. I've been viral many times. Doesn't always like pan out. Like, it's just sometimes it's just like, it's like 2 days and then you're back to, so it's like, going viral is not as like exciting as it seems, because a lot of times it doesn't actually benefit you. But if you have consistent work over a long period of time that people remember you, memorability to me is more important than going viral. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that we have to kind of remind ourselves consistently.
Yeah. And it's all about that repetition. Like
Mhm.
you're not going to know what works or
Yes,
what's resonating with your
exactly.
audience until you just start posting things. And
Mhm.
honestly, like at the end of the day, you are going to be getting better and better at it every day. You are going to get those things. But really, like you said earlier, it's really about that capturing of like that one person maybe really resonated with whatever you
Mhm.
posted that day. And that one person turns into a really amazing client. But I
Yeah.
just want to encourage you, if you're thinking about a post or if you've been sitting on a post, just post it. I don't care.
Mhm.
I don't even care what time of day it is. I don't care if it's a perfect, just start somewhere. And the same thing with authentic branding. Just start showing up your
Mhm.
authentic self and however that works for you. I think that's the biggest takeaway me and Jenna can give you is just start somewhere, do the action. It's more about that than the vanity metrics. Like at the
100%.
end of and at the end of the day, we're really just trying to show up in our businesses as
Mhm.
our true selves.
Yeah.
I love this. I think there's so much information in this podcast. Now, if somebody is local to the Twin Cities or just wanting to work with you, where can they connect with you? Where is the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Instagram and LinkedIn. You can find me in those two places. Just my name, it's my handle. I'm the only Jenna Redfield in the world, so you'll find me. My website, jennaredfield.com, is kind of the main hub, which leads to my Red Thread Studio, which is my VIP day. I do a lot of video content I do work with people in the health industry and wellness as well as beauty,
Yep.
but also other industries. And then I also have a Substack that comes out every Tuesday that I share tips about sometimes marketing, sometimes I teach Notion. I teach a lot of different things on there. So that's kind of the other platform you can find me on is Substack.
Awesome. And of course, I will put all of those links in the show notes so you guys can just click on it. Don't even have to think about it. But thank you so much for being on today, Jenna.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or a tip that you can use immediately. And my episodes come out weekly, so I'll see you in the next episode.